Hello everyone, it's Jonathan Lloyd James here again at the Cult VR Lab in Cardiff. Do you ever call yourself a fan of a particular gaming series? And if so, how many of that series have you actually played? Today we're going to be having a look at the Final Fantasy series, which has a particularly special place in my heart.
I've always considered myself a fan of the Final Fantasy franchise, but recently I realised that I've not actually played that many of them. I played 1 to 6 when I worked as a building manager in Cardiff, fell in love with Final Fantasy X, braved the awful Final Fantasy XIII for as long as I could physically stand it.
While we're on the topic of Final Fantasy XIII, where in the love of God were we going?
Let's apply Final Fantasy XIII logic to everyday life. My friends and I do something that upsets MI5, so I decide I need to leave Cardiff and hide somewhere. Where shall I hide? Oh, I know! London! How will we get there, irritating character number 1? Let's walk, irritating character number 2. Splendid idea! Now let's lick our testicles!
Licking testicles, just another thing better than Final Fantasy XIII.
Thankfully Final Fantasy 15 turned up, and I fell back in love again. For me it felt like the 3D spiritual successor to Secret of Mana with its ring battle system. Until Secret of Mana actually got a 3D sequel, obviously.
I've always wondered what the other games were like, and then something amazing happened.
Square Enix had a sale on the Switch, which means that I'm now the proud owner of Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, 12, Maxima and 15 Pockets Edition.
But I'm not going to be alone on my voyage. My partners in crime, Andy Ware and Gareth Moore, are going to accompany me as we go back through the missing parts of my Final Fantasy experience. Speaking of which, in earlier Final Fantasy games, it turns out that naming a character after Andy is particularly dangerous.
Andy.
So will we enjoy the other Final Fantasies? And how much abuse will we get if we think that some of them are crap? Let's find out.